camera. I didn't post that.
What is up, everybody? Chris, the Dice DGen here with Ian. Ian, how are you this evening?
Hey, Chris, how's it going, man?
I'm doing well. We're going to be breaking down some nice Sweet 16 of the March Madness. It's already here. Feels like it flew by, but we'll be breaking down the Sweet 16 matchups for you all and going over our pretty fire selections, if I must say, from the first two rounds. What were your thoughts on the first two rounds, Ian?
Well, it's amazing just to watch some of the high-level seeds go down. Some of them, people knew that they were going to go down. Some of them are like, oh, man, what the heck happened? So it's going to be fun to talk about what happened, but it definitely is a crazy time. I was looking around today, and it's, they got 16 teams left in the tournament from 11 different conferences. I mean, that's crazy to be able to look back and say, man, 11 conferences are still got a shot at being the national champion, cutting down those nets. It's going to be fun to watch over the weekend for sure.
Oh, that I didn't even notice that. So shout out to you for that due diligence. And we'll say what's up to Jim. Jim, how are you this evening? He said what's up to all
Jim.
of us. So yeah, it was pretty crazy. I think some of the games were a lot of great games. I'll be honest with you. I was on vacation last week watching a lot of them. A lot of great games, and there were some surprising upsets, and then there were some non-surprising upsets. And if you listened to us last week, you wouldn't have been so surprised by some of these upsets. If you didn't listen to us and you thought we were all far rockers, then you might have been surprised. But without further ado, I think we just hop into a little recap here, and let's get the screen up. There we go. All right. So in the South, nothing super shocking. We'll get to the bottom of the bracket there and a little bit more shocking down there. But, we both thought Alabama and San Diego State had pretty easy rides into the Sweet 16. Anything shock you in that first four games there, the Alabama, Maryland, San Diego State, Virginia games?
Let's start it off by giving you your props where your props is due, my friend. You came out strong and said Furman was going to give old Tony Bennett a hard time. And sure enough, that game, I was floored just to watch the mistakes that were made by Virginia. I mean, there was a lot of questions. Was it the fix on? That's how bad it was.
Yeah.
But, to see Virginia go out that quickly, it was just, and then San Diego State is, my niece goes to San Diego State. I was going to actually wear my San Diego State. She got me a shirt. I was going to wear that tonight for the show because I had to bury my Kentucky stuff, which we'll talk about in a little bit. But the only other one that really stood out to me as a good game was the West Virginia-Maryland game.
Yeah.
It was a battle back and forth. I mean, usually, you're not going to see that kind of back and forth between an 8 and 9 seed. I really thought West Virginia was going to win that game. But as you can see, Maryland clutched up in the end and ended up winning that one. But other than that, not much of those first four games.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I pretty much have the same kind of thoughts on those games, right? We both had West Virginia. It was a good game. Very back and forth. Could have went either way. That's what you look for, though, in some of those 8-9, some of those 7-10 matchups, those, really close games. I'll be honest. I thought Charleston played really well in the first game. I know San Diego State didn't play great, but I thought San Diego State was going to blow them out of the water, and they didn't. So props to Charleston for hanging in there. Obviously, San Diego State advanced, but the Furman game, the Furman Virginia game. I'll be honest with you, I was sweating that one out for a long time. I really thought Virginia was gonna. They looked like they were pulling away, especially towards the end of that game there. I mean, Furman was down like 7 with like only a handful of minutes left. So like I thought I was, going to be eating my words on that game. But then again, it's a 4-13 matchup. I could talk my way out of that one, I guess. But yeah, I was surprised with how Virginia just collapsed, and that's why you're saying with the some of that fix and stuff. I mean, they were just making bad passes, bad turnovers, just dumb plays, like taking bad shots. I wasn't sure what was going on there, but not going to be too mad because Furman made it, and we both had
how bad was that inbound pass though?
Oh, it was terrible. I don't even know what the guy was
could that have been one of the worst inbound passes you've ever seen?
100%. That may have been the worst. Like I don't even know. I can't even think of another one that is worse. Honestly, that was brutal.
Crazy.
But then we go down to the bottom here. You and I both liked Creighton. We both liked Baylor, and we liked Creighton over Baylor. Right. This is one of those games where we said Baylor was a soft 3 seed. They weren't very good. I know a lot of people were very high on Baylor this year. You and I, not so much.
Not so much, yeah.
We liked them, but that Creighton team is a very good team. And I had Creighton in my Elite Eight from the start. So for me, that's not really that surprising. The Missouri-Utah State game, I was a little surprised by Utah State. I thought they would play a little bit better. They came out slow and they looked kind of bad. And then Princeton, Arizona. I'll be honest with you, that game doesn't shock me at all. You and I were both not very high on Arizona. Again, said they were the softest 2 seed in the tournament. And just goes to show you, Princeton comes out there and just beats them.
Yeah,
I'll be honest. Go ahead.
I just say to look at that for Arizona after coming out and winning the Pac-12 championship against UCLA, to come in and lay an egg like that, to play that bad. I mean, yeah, they only lost by 4 points, but realistically, they did not play well at all. I mean, it was funny because I was talking to a buddy of mine who's a big Arizona guy, and he was just, blamed it all on the coaching. But you got to deliver too. I mean, they hold you to 55 points as a powerhouse school such as Arizona is. You're doing something wrong, but you can't blame the coaching staff on that, man. That's just sure. You guys got to step up and play for sure.
100%. Yeah, that's what I was going to say with Arizona. Like, they only lost by 4, but that game they should have lost by 10 plus. I mean, they looked flat. They look terrible. Yeah, you can blame the coaching staff, but at a certain point, I mean, listen, they're college athletes. Your coaching only does so much at that point. You got to clutch up and you got to make the plays to end up winning that game. I will be honest though, Princeton over Missouri surprised me a bit. I think the fact that they beat Arizona and then they beat Missouri handedly. I'm not high on Missouri. I thought they were not a good team, but I mean, Princeton made them look really bad. So now Princeton will play Creighton. Who do you like in that game?
Oh, I like Creighton. I think Creighton's going to come out of this bracket myself. The way they're playing ball right now, I think they're going to give, like Jim says, don't be surprised if San Diego State beats Alabama. Their defense is solid. Yeah. Bama's just too long and athletic. I mean, you look across their 5, they are big, they're fast, they're athletic. But Creighton is just, talk about teams that peak at the right time in March. This is the time to be peaking. You get to the 3rd week and 4th week in March, and you're playing like these guys are playing, and they know it. I mean, they're coming in saying, hey, we're lucky to be here, but we're also a team that's going to be forced to be reckoned with. I would love to see them, be in the Final Four, be like one of those teams like George Mason from years ago that come out of nowhere and get in, right? Which is, I feel like it always it just heightens the tourney up to see that as well.
100%. I also feel like Creighton's one of those teams that they're a very March team. I feel like year after year, even when they make the tournament, they're never a high seed. They're always, a mid to bottom tier seed, and they always come in and they always play well. They always clutch up in March. So they're battle tested. I think that's going to be a good game. I think Creighton will, beat Princeton. And I wouldn't be shocked if they end up beating the winner of Alabama and San Diego State. I think Alabama is going to beat San Diego State. I think it's going to be a very good game. I think it's going to be close. But I think you mentioned the length already. I think it's going to be too much for San Diego State down the line. I think it's going to be a close game. Personally, I think Alabama's winning that one I think it's going to get into the free throw contest at the end. And I think Alabama will pull away by, a little bit at the end. But I think Alabama-Creighton is going to be a nice matchup personally. What did Jim say? He said Princeton's on a roll. Could be an upset waiting to happen against Creighton. Creighton is tough, though. Creighton's a very good team. I think Princeton, personally, I think they're riding a high right now. I think Princeton, they beat Arizona, they beat Missouri. I think this is where the buck stops here. I think Creighton's going to handle them. Creighton's a better team than Arizona, way better team than Missouri. I think Princeton's going to have their hands full. Will it be a decent game? Yeah, probably. Creighton pulls it out, though, in my opinion.
Well, I could you imagine, though, what would happen if Princeton actually wins that and goes to the Elite Eight? What a Cinderella story. It'd be crazy. I mean, you're talking about, as a 15 seed to make it into the last 8 teams, that would be craziness, So good on them. I mean, sure, I think it'd be cool to see that happen, but I just say Creighton's got too much stacked up there. So, yeah.
Yeah, Jim said Princeton has some good size with some good outside shooting. They do. Again, I think Creighton is just too good defensively. And Creighton will let them take those outside shots. They're not going to let them beat them down at the boards. So I think Creighton, pulls that one out. But, I mean, let's be honest. Princeton here on the Cinderella story, I mean, you're coming out of, Ivy League-type conference, right? I mean, these guys are always bounced in the first round. They are not expected to do anything in this tournament ever. The fact that they even get into the tournament half the time, people are like, why even bother? Add a better team in there. So the fact that, they're doing something good this year, happy for them. Again, would love to see them win. I don't think they will, but, good for them if they do. All right, let's move down to the East. And let's talk about right off the bat, right? You and I last week were both so anti-Purdue, it was unbelievable. And people in chat, people in comments, people were texting me afterwards, you're nuts that I don't like Purdue. I've been saying it all season long. They're not good. They're a soft 1 seed. You and I both said it last week that we thought they would beat Fairleigh Dickinson, right? Of course, because it's a 16 seed. But we both had them losing to FAU. And we didn't even think the game would be close. Well, we didn't have to worry about it being close because they didn't even make it. They're bad. If you had Purdue winning your entire bracket, I'm sorry.
Thanks for your donation.
Literally.
Yeah.
And, people are, oh, you're talking about it. You had Kansas. I know I had Kansas. Relax. All right. My bracket's still looking pretty good. As long as Alabama doesn't win the whole thing, I'm good. But what's it? I mean, you lost to Fairleigh Dickinson, right? Fairleigh Dickinson's coach even said the more he watched Purdue, they looked beatable.
Yeah.
Purdue is soft. They're not a good team. It is what it is. So, props to Fairleigh Dickinson. That's like what, the first time a 16 seed ever beaten a 1 seed, or the second time?
Second time.
I
think.
Yeah. Wild story. And I'll be honest with you, that game, they only lost by 5. That game wasn't that close either. That's one of those games that, Purdue hung around. Purdue should have blew them out. The spread on that game was like 20 points, 20 plus points. That's not a game where you hang around with a team. That's a game where you go in there, you treat it like practice almost. You beat them and you get the heck out of there, and you're already looking forward to round 2. Well, Purdue was looking forward to round 2 before they even stepped in the gym, I think, there. Is what it is. FAU Memphis, we both liked FAU there. That was a great game though, with FAU and Memphis.
I think I took Memphis though, because I was talking about Penny Hardaway.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen him throw a water bottle like that before? Did you see that after that loss?
No.
Oh, you've got to go YouTube that and find out that. It's hilarious, man. He was ticked off, and you could just see it. So it was like crazy. Hey, SJ, how's it going?
Yep.
Biff, what's up, Biff?
SJ, what's going on, brother? And Biff, how's it going?
Biff is back for more.
Is FD the official Cinderella team? Princeton has the Cinderella crown, in my opinion.
15 seed,
it could be close. So, either way, right? Memphis, FAU, it was a good game. Duke, Oral Roberts. All right, I'll take some heat here. I said Oral Roberts was going to upset Duke. Whatever. But what happened the next game? Everybody was telling me last week. Everybody was telling me last week that Duke is a Final Four team. If you had Duke in the Final Four, what?
I said it. I was one of them. I said, well, I didn't think they were Final Four. I thought they were going to, I said
Yeah. No,
Kentucky.
I know you
Kentucky was
thought
going to win,
they were going to win.
but I thought they'd make it to the Sweet 16. But yeah, boy, to lose by 13 to Tennessee. Tennessee's, I mean, the SEC's well represented in the tournament. I mean, with Alabama, Kentucky, Tennessee. I mean, they got good teams in there. But to lose by 13 is incredible. Here's another fun fact for you. Do you know, since 1995, there's always been there's been one of these teams has always been in the Sweet 16. Kansas, UK, Duke, and Carolina. This is the fourth time, since 1975, where one of those four haven't at least been in the Sweet 16.
That's insane. I did not.
That's crazy. That. Yes, a buddy of mine pinged me on that and said, "Did you know that?" I said, "I had no clue. No clue." I mean, you're talking about the four of the best. Well, some say the best powerhouse schools. I mean, you could throw UCLA in there.
Yeah,
back in the day with Lou Alcindor and Walton and stuff like that. But as far as programs today, where a lot of kids, hey, if I'm going to pick, those are four big schools, but a lot of them lost their big coaches. I mean, I really think the reason why Kansas lost, and we'll get to that in a minute, Self's not there. Self wasn't there. That's huge. If you don't have your leader at the, as
100%,
taking a look at that and being able to say, hey, what it is, but. And there's only four previous champs left out of the Sweet 16. That's Michigan State, UCLA, UConn, and Arkansas. Those are the only four. So there's a good chance. I mean, you got a 75% chance we're going to crown a champion that's never been champion before.
Which is cool. I like that a lot.
Amen.
That a lot.
Yeah, it is. It's good stuff.
So, yeah, this side of the bracket, though, I mean, to me, nothing surprising over here. I had this exact matchup, FAU and Tennessee, playing against each other. So for me, this is, I thought Oral Roberts would be playing Tennessee in the second round, but it is what it is. Otherwise, nothing too shocking here. Again, if you weren't here last week, you would know Ian and I were very, very anti-Purdue. I don't know if we said it. I think one of us may have said we wouldn't be shocked if they lost in the first round. I don't know if we said it, but we were both, they're out in the second round, no problem. So take that one to the bank. And Ian, I know this one's going to be kind of a sore spot here, but
man,
we're going to go over it. Kentucky handled Providence, right? Not too shocking there, but no. Kansas State's looked good.
Kansas State, I mean, that score was as a 6-point game, but Kentucky was up. That was the worst defensive part I've seen Kentucky play in 30 years watching Kentucky. Was the last 2 minutes of that game.
Yeah, it was bad.
They're letting those kids shoot from 25 feet out and making them. I mean, that little point guard, Noel, whatever.
It was raining from everywhere.
Not only that, but that driving kick that he had going on where they collapsed down on him when he was driving in the lane was crazy. Kentucky played decent. I mean, look at Oscar was the man. I mean, all weekend he had 17 boards and 22 points. He had 20-something boards the night before, the game before. And you mark my words, that guy is, as Dick Vitale would say, a PT player, man. That kid's going to be good in the NBA. He's got great hands. But, yeah, Kansas just hit jumpers the last 2 minutes. It was crazy. Yep. I mean, they're one of their star guys. Didn't do anything up until the last 2 minutes and then came out of the woodworks and just slapping it down. So, yeah. I was not happy. And my wife heard me slam the door as I ran out to the garage after that. She was like, yep, quiet, not going to say nothing there. But, yeah. Yeah,
that's one of those matchups that, it's your team. And especially when, you do some things towards the end of the game that, it's just you're sitting there and, you're not even a player. You're not even a coach. I would tell these guys to do something about it, and they're not doing anything about it. It's how much money is that coach making, and they're not doing anything. He's not telling them to do this. He's not changing anything. That's what's frustrating to me with things like that. But, Kansas State, they've looked good. Marquette surprised me, I'll be honest with you. They looked good in the first game, and then against Michigan State, they looked atrocious. I don't think they played well at all. Michigan State played well, but I mean Marquette they looked bad, bad, bad. What are Biff is saying? Neither of you were high on USC. Not a surprise. Sparty's going to dance. Yeah, neither one of us liked USC. We thought they were a pretty bad team. I'll be honest with you, the 10 seed's not even good enough for them. I thought they should have been even lower seeded than that. But yeah, Michigan State. It's also hard to bet against Izzo in March. So that's
100%.
another thing. But yeah, Michigan State, they surprised me. They made Marquette look pretty bad.
Yeah. Look at OBC giving me a hard time. Hey, OBC, what's up? Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I have gone. I went and watched Kentucky play Alabama. My nephew was on the UK squad out there, not playing but working for him. Got me courtside seats, and so Ashley's a little crazy nowadays. I don't know, maybe 20 years ago she was it, but she's a little crazy now. So I don't know if I want to mess with that one.
All right, let's pop up to what bracket is this? This is like the East or something. The Midwest.
Midwest.
Yeah. All right. Here, nothing too shocking if you ask me. I think you and I both had these picks pretty dialed in. I think we may have had this exact outcome up at the top here with Houston playing Miami. We had the upset, if you want to call it an upset. Both were agreed that was a bad line. The wrong team was favored there, and Auburn showed you why they were. Miami handled Drake, and then I think they played better against Indiana than they did against Drake. Obviously, the score dictates that too, but I mean Miami against Drake, I'll be honest, they had me a little worried when they were playing against Drake, and then the worry went away when they played against Indiana. They played unbelievably against Indiana.
Yeah, I mean, Wong just lit it up. I mean, he was 9 for 17. He had 27 points. And Miami just rebounded the ball. That big kid Amir or whatever you say his name is. I mean, he had 17 boards, I think, or something, like 18 boards or something like that. To dominate like that was pretty impressive. But you look at it, and Miami's no slouch for 27-7.
Yeah,
but, it's still something to definitely take a look at as they get ready for the next game.
100%. And this is gonna be a good game. The Houston Miami matchup is gonna be a good game. Is this what you're laughing at here?
That's totally what I'm laughing about. Somebody take a screenshot of that for me and send that to my buddy.
I'll send it over to Jen. I'll send it over to Jen.
Craig, she's gonna get you for that one, man.
Yeah, right. And then down here, nothing shocking. Xavier and Texas. This whole thing, I'll be honest, Penn State surprised me. Texas A&M played like absolute crap. And Penn State looked good. But you knew they were losing to Texas. I really didn't see any other any other four coming out of this side of the bracket. For me, it was always Houston, Miami, Xavier, and Texas. So this one played out, according to plan, according to script, as I thought anyway. This game is going to be a good game. We'll talk about it in a minute with the Xavier Texas game. I love this half of the bracket though, with Houston, Miami, Xavier, and Texas. I think you have four great teams here. And Texas is playing really well right now. Houston is playing well. Miami, they're looking good. I think the worst team here is Xavier, but we'll talk about it in a little bit. Anything surprise you here? Or no, this is pretty straightforward.
No, yeah, I mean this is pretty straightforward. Yeah.
All right.
I mean, just how low Iowa State scored in the first round. I mean, 41 points. I mean, guys,
against Pitt. I mean, I guess I had Iowa State in that one, but they were atrocious. They looked awful. Yeah. Pitt didn't look that good to me, but they were. That game's. This is the problem, right? People get so stuck up on the round one games. You can't win your bracket in round one. All right, everybody at home, you can't win your bracket in round one. You could certainly lose it though. And this game, to me, this is one of those games that it's a meaningless game because I don't have any of those teams going on anywhere past that. So if I lose it, it is what it is. We'll talk about this one down here that really hurt me badly with Kansas losing because I had
Yep,
Kansas
I
winning the
was
whole
there with
thing.
you.
I think we both had them winning the whole thing last week. That one hurts. I'll be honest with you, and I'm actually really sad that Kansas did lose because I think they had a pretty easy way in for the rest of the rounds, if you ask me. But they lost, so props to Arkansas for playing them well. I don't think Kansas played that well. That was another one where you already mentioned it, and I'm not going to steal your thunder with Bill Self not being there, but I think they were poorly coached in that game, and I'll throw that one over to you because I know you were chomping at the bit earlier to talk about it.
Well, definitely. I mean, Self's a top 5, maybe top 8 coach, in basketball, in college basketball. And so is he worth 1-2 points a game? There's no doubt in my mind.
Oh, yeah.
Watching that game. I mean, I watched Arkansas against Kentucky twice, and I'm looking at that going, Kansas is a way better team. I think they were out-coached. I don't think they were prepared. They were thinking, hey, we're number 1. We're going to walk into this and just, I mean, don't take anything from Arkansas. They went out and played. I mean, they, took it to them. But I was shocked that was one of them that out of the round of 32 that was just crazy, And I don't know if you saw, but Eric Musselman, did you see him rip off his shirt after they beat Kansas? It's like, come on, dude, act like you've been there before. You know what I mean?
Also, you should probably keep your shirt on, man, or hit the gym every once in a while.
Exactly. You got the dad bod going on. Yeah. So
dad bod
with
dude's never seen some vitamin D in his life. It looks like a sheet up there. I mean, listen, I get you're all excited and stuff, but I mean, you're a grown man representing a school, and that's what you're doing. All right. I mean, props on the win, but I mean, come on. There was many other things you could have done in that situation other than get up on the scorer's table and take your shirt off and then like swing it around like you're at Mardi Gras. Brother, this is March Madness, not Mardi Gras. But I'll be honest with you. UConn surprised me. I know you liked UConn. You were talking about them a lot last week. I had Iona beating them in the first round, but that was more one of those like, I got to go for the upset here. Kind of with the Furman Virginia pick. That I said it even though last week, right? I said I was high on Furman. I liked Iona because Rick Petito's the coach.
Petito's there, not anymore. He took a job with St. John's now. So
he's gone. But I thought they would play a little better. They didn't play well. But I'll be honest, UConn beating St. Mary's the way they did shocked me a little bit. They played well. This game, I wouldn't be surprised if UConn just comes and blows the doors off the gym against Arkansas. But Arkansas played well, so we'll see what happens. I'm praying for a UConn win here, though, because I can't see another shirt come off from that guy.
You hope not. Now that he's won a game, then maybe he'll, tone it back a notch, I guess. Jeez.
Yeah, right. Have some professionalism there. And then down here at the bottom, nothing surprising here. This was pretty clear cut. I think everybody who won should have won that game. TCU over Arizona, Zags over Grand Canyon, Northwestern over Boise State, and then UCLA, and then again UCLA and Gonzaga going on. Good games. Gonzaga is looking hungry like they were back when they won. They're looking good. And this right here is this game. The UCLA Gonzaga game is probably the one I'm looking forward to the most in the Sweet 16. There's some other good games, but this is the one that I'm most excited for. And that game is tomorrow night. 9:45. That's going to be a great game. I'm so looking forward to this game.
I agree with you, man. I mean, out here, Zags are on the other side of the state of Washington, over in Spokane. They're kind of like the defunct school because Wazoo and UW's basketball programs just aren't there anymore. I mean, UW's is even worse than Wazoo's. And so, I was kind of surprised about the TCU Gonzaga game. Obviously the offense was there, but there, the Zags are going to be hurting if they don't ratchet up a little bit on the defensive end.
Yeah.
I think there's going to be, this is definitely the game against UCLA and Gonzaga. I mean, everybody who likes college basketball is going to take time out to watch this game tomorrow night, and it's going to be a good one, I think. I mean, they played each other, I think it's going to be a great one. To be in Vegas and have a chance to go watch that game is going to be a good time.
Yeah. Badger said he doesn't know much about UCLA, but they'll be playing well. They are a very, very solid team this year. They're usually a good team, but this year I think they're very, very well-rounded. Biff been spending time this week tinkering my roulette game. Want to get back into sports more. Well, Biff, you are in luck, sir. Stay tuned to CGTV. Just stay tuned. That's all I'm going to say. Not going to go any further, but stay tuned. In the near future, stay tuned. Stay tuned. All right.
Keep an eye on Discord too, because there'll be some announcements there as well.
Oh yeah, pay attention to Discord. If you guys, by the way, if you're not in the Discord yet, all right, it's linked down below in the description. Go check it out. We'll get that going. So, all right, let me scroll back up here. Let's talk about some of these games coming up. All right, so there's games tomorrow, and there's games Thursday for the Sweet 16. So, Ian, Alabama, San Diego State. What are your thoughts?
Well, like I said a little bit earlier, I think Alabama's, they're a very athletic squad, big squad. The disruptions around what was going on outside, I don't even like to talk about it anymore because that's the most overplayed thing right now. Not that it wasn't a big deal, but it's just, let's take it off. I think San Diego State, though, first two rounds played well. Can they run with Alabama? I think they can. I think when we get into it and really take a look at what it is, though, Alabama's number one in the nation for a reason. They're lean, they're long, they can shoot the ball deep. They definitely rebound well. So it's going to be interesting to see, what happens with this game. Now, is San Diego State happy with where they're at? That's a great question. You know what I mean? Miller's playing well. He's averaging, 19 points a game, but then again, who's the big rebounders? San Diego State, they're leading rebounders at 6 rebounds. So it's a team effort from them compared to Miller's averaging over 8 rebounds a game. So when you look at it, it screams everything for Alabama, and I'm going to be one of those people that are screaming for Alabama as well, as they are an SEC team. Yeah, so I'm taking Alabama.
I agree. Last week we were told we were too high on the SEC. We were giving them too much credit.
Look how many teams are in there. Listen, We follow college basketball, all right? There's a reason we're high on the SEC, and it's not because we're high on the division itself. It's just these teams in the SEC this year are very, very good. So I'm with you. I'm on Alabama this week. I think it's going to be a good game, but I think it's going to come down to, you already mentioned it, the rebounds. Miller out-rebounds their top two rebounders for San Diego State on a game-by-game basis. So they're already going to be hurting at the boards. Not many second chances for San Diego State. And if you watched their game against Charleston, if you watched it against Furman, they were getting a lot of second chances. They were missing the first opportunities and getting second chances. They're not going to get them this week in this game, and I think it's going to be tough for them. Real quick, I'm going to go over a couple chats that popped in. Biff said, I heard UCLA has depth. I haven't followed them. They do have depth. I wouldn't say they're very deep, but they do have depth, and they're a good team overall. But they're good this year. Has UCLA played Gonzaga? No. I think last time they played was in like COVID 2021, I want to say. I think that's the last time they played. It's been a minute.
Yeah. Gonzaga, I do remember Gonzaga beat them badly. I think that might have been was that in the tournament 2 years ago? It might have been the tournament 2 years ago, I'm thinking. That was the year Gonzaga won it all, though. That's what I'm thinking. I could pull up their past games and tell you for sure. San Diego State, best defense. I think you're referring to San Diego State, Alabama. If not, you're referring to UCLA, Gonzaga. Either case, you can make an argument there. UCLA, okay. Badger's a Big 12 guy. He's got 2 teams that are left. And, the Big 10 is still representing. All right, let's pop back over here. So we both like Alabama. Creighton, Princeton, I think this is where Cinderella loses her shoe. I'll be honest with you here. Everything in me wants to see the underdog fight this one, but Creighton is just such a solid team this year. I can't possibly go against them. I think Creighton's gonna be playing Alabama, and I wouldn't be shocked if Creighton upset Alabama in the next game. But I like Creighton here. Again, Princeton's been playing well. I think Creighton is a more well-rounded team compared to Princeton, and I think the wheels fall off the wagon this week.
Totally agree with you. I think Princeton's had their limelight. I mean, they had the center of attention for 2 games, showing everybody, hey, we're not just a bunch of brainiac kids, being able to figure out how to do it. But Creighton right now is playing so well. I think Creighton can compete with anybody that's left in the tournament. We might see some upsets later on. I don't know. We'll get to those in a minute, but definitely, Creighton is a squad. In talking about San Diego State, I agree with you, Jim. They can play some defense, but Alabama is just so talented across with the length and the athleticism. I mean, that goes without saying. I mean, as a fan of Kentucky, I've watched Kentucky play for many years on just athleticism. They got a bunch of 6'4" to 6'9" guys that run up and down the court. I mean, this year they had Oscar, but when you look at Alabama, they got big kids that can run the floor. They play hard. I'm not a big Alabama fan myself, but I'm just seeing, given their dues. I mean, I think San Diego State's excited to be there, as potential top 20 team, top 25 team that they were. But in reality, I think just Alabama's going to have too much for them.
Yeah, no, I agree. All right, so we have Alabama, we have Creighton. In that Elite Eight matchup, who you got going to the Final Four, Alabama or Creighton?
Well, again, I think when we look at Alabama and playing in the SEC, I mean, there's some solid teams in the SEC with Kentucky, Tennessee, Auburn. I mean, they had 5 teams at least, or 4 teams at least, in the tournament out of that division. Which, as you can see already, we've already said that there's 11 different leagues that are represented in here in the tournament. So to be able to say that, but again, I think Alabama is just going to be tough. They're going to run the floor with them. I think that they've got the best chance of beating Creighton. Although I would really like to see Creighton win, but I just think if I'm a betting man, which I try to be, I would be betting on. It would depend on what the spread is, but I think they have a better chance of winning this one.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, you can look at pretty much every stat in the book. Bama's leading in most of them this year. In offensive rate, they're better than Creighton would be. Defensively, they're better than Creighton is. I think Alabama's going to win that one. I think there was a lot of question marks about Alabama with the off-court drama that was going on. I think they've answered those questions, and that's not 100%. Really affecting them. They're not focused on it. People were trying to make a huge deal about the security guards with Brandon Miller and stuff. Listen, the guy's Mr. Showtime right now. He's balling out, and he's going to continue to ball out. I like Alabama going to the Final Four. On this side, FAU, Tennessee, and Kansas State and Michigan State. So I know you like Duke here, but I think I know who you're going to go with here. And I think we're on the same side with this one. I like Tennessee here. I gave a lot of credit to Tennessee from the start. I thought they were a good team. I mean, they're 6th overall, and they have the number 1 adjusted defense by the rankings. So that's why I do like them. People like to say, offense can win you games, but defense wins you championships. I think that's exactly what Tennessee has been doing. They haven't been very flashy in a lot of their games, but they've been very, very sound, very fundamental. Personally, I like Tennessee over Florida Atlantic here. I think Florida Atlantic's a good team, but I don't think that they're good enough to beat Tennessee. Again, defensively, Tennessee is just, according to the rankings, they're the best stat-wise and whatnot. But I think they're going to show that here, and they're going to make FAU struggle a little bit.
All right, you ready for a shocking one here?
Go ahead.
All right. So the number 4 seeds, when they play an 8 or a 9 seeds, They're 6-10.
Okay.
And 2-7 against the spread.
Ooh.
So money line says the better end. You says I want to put a little cheese on that, at least a little bit of cheese.
What's the line? Let me pull up the line.
Yeah, that line is I got it here. Hold up, if you just click that, I'll show it to you. I mean, if you look at the ESPN stuff, they say you have an 84% chance of winning that game. You know what I mean? It's but
Tennessee's 4.5 point favorites.
Yeah. So when you look at that, though, you got a team that's won 33 games for a reason, right? Now, by all means, I'm going to take Tennessee. I'm just saying, as a betting guy, like I know that you are, I mean, that might be something to throw a couple of ducats on it, just a unit or two, and say, hey, plus 4.5, maybe even take it straight up.
I take them on the money line. The betting man in me would take the money line there.
Sure. Yeah. But yeah, I agree with you. I'm taking Tennessee as well in this game.
All right, here's an interesting game for me. All right, this is a very interesting game.
Most interesting game.
Kansas State, Michigan State game. All right, this is gonna be a good game as well. And I'm very confused by what Vegas is thinking here. They have Michigan State as 1.5 favorites over Kansas State, and that shocks me a little bit. I thought Michigan State would be dogs here. Now, it's not because I'm looking at the rankings and the seedings and stuff. At this point, the seedings don't matter a ton, okay? Other than the Princeton game. That matters a little bit. But here, the 3-7 matchup, it is what it is. I thought Kansas State would be favored here. In terms of offensive rankings and adjusted for the stats and stuff, Kansas State's 47th in offense, 17th in defense. Michigan State is 37th in overall offense, 31st in defense. This is what looks to be a very close game on paper, and a little surprised, I'll be honest with you, that Michigan State is favored here.
Well, I think K-State showed me that they can play.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I'm saying.
Kentucky played well that game.
That's why they're favored.
There's Tom Izzo. SJ, you're 100% correct. That's what this game's going to – that's what the bettors are saying. That's what Vegas is saying.
Yeah.
That's the reason why this is a coin flip. And this is literally a coin flip. If you look on the matchup predictor, it's 50-50, 49.4 from 50.6. The biggest key, though, is Kansas State won that game without their best player. Johnson didn't do anything against Kentucky until the last 3 minutes of that game.
Yeah.
If that guy gets in, I mean, he averages 17.5 points a game. If he gets in and gets into the flow of the game and starts playing like he did the last 3 minutes of that game, slashing, taking it to the rack, their point guard was unbelievable. I mean, that guy was throwing dimes left and right. Noel, it was funny because Coach Cal got yelled at because he called him the little guy. The guy's 5'8", 160 pounds. He's a little dude.
But he's balling.
I mean, come on. But he was balling. And so if they can shut him down and not let him dribble penetrate, if Michigan State can do that. But I think Michigan State's, they're happy with where they're at. I mean, if you watch the post-conference with Izzo, he was making it sound like, man, we're exceeding expectations by getting to where we're at.
Yeah.
I mean, so he's kind of already doing that, where in the past you would never hear that from Izzo. Izzo was always about, we're going to be there in the end.
Yeah.
So I'm leaning towards K-State here, strictly probably because I watched them put a thumping on my boys. But I look at it and I say, okay, here we go. I think this is a way that this is going to be probably one of the better games. Obviously the Zags UCLA game will be the best game. But this is going to be a good game. If you like good college basketball and be able to watch a storied program as Michigan State is against an up-and-comer like Kansas State, I mean, who would ever thought that? You know what I mean?
Yeah. Listen, I'm with you on this one, right? I already said I don't think Kansas State should be dogs here. I think they should be favored. You can give Izzo all the points you want. I don't think it's going to come down to it. I don't think his coaching at the end is going to matter. I see this as a 10-point win for Kansas State.
Wow.
I'm booking them on the money line. You can give it to me right now. I think Kansas State's been playing way too well. I don't think Michigan State's looked that good, in my opinion. They haven't passed my eye test. They've won games, but the only game that they actually won that was really surprising to me was against Marquette, and Marquette laid an egg in that game. They looked bad, in my opinion. I think Marquette lost that game more than Michigan State actually won that game. So I like Kansas State here. So we got Kansas State up against. Are you taking FAU or are you taking Tennessee? Which one are you going?
No, I'm going to take Tennessee.
All right.
They're an SEC team. I got to take them.
Kansas State against Tennessee.
I just thought that was a pretty amazing stat. That
is a good stat. I got to give it to 10. You.
Man, I was like, what?
That was some good due diligence right there.
Yeah. Well, I look at so we're taking Tennessee and we're taking K-State. You're talking about a 3-4 matchup. I mean, does it get any better in a 3-4 matchup in the Elite Eight? You're talking about guys that are supposed to be there or there. Now, when you look at K-State again, it's going to come down to, can Johnson play? I mean, I saw it. I saw they were down by 5. Johnson started playing. All of a sudden, things went crazy. And so Tennessee is going to be steady flow. I don't think they can run as fast as Michigan State can. Or excuse me, as Kansas State can. And so I'm gonna lean towards, Kansas State on this strictly because of how fast they are. Now, if Tennessee can get in and slow it down and play a half court offense, there might have a shot here. But Johnson's got to come up big. And I think, Tennessee is just going to have to not shoot the ball well. Now, Tennessee can be in this game if they shoot the outside jumpers because those guys collapse on defense, and K-State did. At least they did against Kentucky pretty consistently on the boards. I mean, almost everybody was trying to board on that, including the little 5'8" guy. I mean, yeah. I love it because I'm 5'8". I don't weigh 160 pounds. But, yeah, me being 5'8", I like to see that still playing hoop. So.
Yeah,
so,
I think
I'm gonna take K-State. So it's up to you.
I think that's gonna be a really good matchup. I'm looking forward to that one.
Yeah.
I actually like Tennessee slightly in that one. I don't love Tennessee there. The reason I like Tennessee is they have the best adjusted defense in the league. And I think they're going to be able to slow down Kansas State a little bit. Do I think they're going to be able to stop them? No, but I think they're going to be able to slow them down enough in order to be able to eke out a win. I don't think it's going to be a blowout. That game to me could go either way. I think personally, that game's going to be set as a pick'em. If I was on the sports books, I think it's going to be a pick'em probably. I like Tennessee there. I don't love them, but I do like them in that matchup. So, we'll see what happens. But, both of them got to take care of business against their respective teams between today and tomorrow, though.
100%.
All right. Let's pop up here to Houston and Miami. This is
well, I know you were
7.5.
You were high on Miami.
Yeah, I was.
I mean, they're there. I mean, Houston, though, when you look at this, I mean, you're talking about a squad and Sasser, a guy averaging 17 points. There was a lot of people worried about he wasn't going to be able to go, and in reality, he was going. He played. I think Wong's a tough kid. He averages 16 a game. But you're talking about, a 90% chance of them, blowing them out. I mean, it's a 7-point favorite. I mean, the money line, Houston's minus 365. I mean, dang. So, yeah. But, you look at the average points per game. Yeah, Houston's got a better defense and they'll averaging 4.5 points less a game. Obviously they're rebounding and stuff. Other than that, everything looks to be pretty good. But they both average over 14 assists a game, but Houston does average a few more boards. So I'm going to go Houston. Houston's looking tough playing right now. And, 33 wins is kind of hard to shake a fist at too.
Yeah. No, I agree. I agree with everything you said there. I was high on Miami. This is a really good one from Badger. This is going to be a track meet on the court. You're right. This is going to be a run and gun. I wouldn't be shocked. What's the over under set at 138.5? I'll be honest. I wouldn't be shocked if that over gets blown out of the water. I mean,
that could be 148. Yeah.
These teams just run and gun. I think Houston's significantly better. I was high on Miami going, into the tournament. I still high on them, but I'm not high enough right now to pick Miami over Houston. Okay.
Yeah.
I'll tell you that right now. Exactly. Houston's going to handle Miami. Going to be a good game, but Houston's going to handle Miami. And then I think that'll be an all right game. The better game in this half of the bracket, though, is going to be the Texas Xavier game. And I'm a big Texas fan in this one. I love Texas in this matchup. What's the line? Give me the line. This is another one where Texas 4.5.
4 point. Yeah, 4.5.
I got 4.5,
4.
depending on the book. I love Texas in this matchup. I think Xavier's good. I don't think they're great. Xavier's played two very bad teams, Kennesaw State and Pitt. They've had the easiest way in here, not against Texas. I think Texas wins this game, and I think they could give Houston a good run for their money in that
100%
matchup.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. I'm actually looking for Texas to come out of this part of the bracket. I mean, I picked them. I think Barnes he's a solid coach. I mean, I don't really care for the guy, but he knows how to coach kids. He knows how to get kids ready to play ball.
Yeah.
And so when you look at what they're doing now, Xavier's scoring points, but there's almost an 8-point difference on the defensive side of the ball.
Mm-hmm.
That's huge. I mean, when you're looking about who can, but Xavier also shoots the ball very well. When you look at them, I mean, they both, don't exactly, they play solid defense. You're looking at Texas is averaging almost 8 steals a game compared to Xavier's 6.5. So when you look at that, that 4-point spread, I would even give a little bit more on that. I think this is not going to be as close as, some other people might think. I think, you give Barnes a week to prepare for somebody. I think he's going to come ready for this game, and I think it's going to be, it's going to be tough for Xavier to hold firm on this.
Yeah, I agree 100%. I'm big on Texas in this one. I was just looking to see, because you made the point. Xavier's put up a lot of points. Pittsburgh has the 104th ranked defense in the league in college basketball, right? So you're putting up points against the 104th defense. So that's not something to be too proud of. I can't even find Kennesaw State's ranking on here. I know they're on here. I just can't find them at the minute. I just know they're down there somewhere, pretty low. So it is what it is. Where's my search function? No, I don't even care enough to look. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. Texas is going to win this game pretty nicely. Ron, California Craps Club, what's going on, boss? And Badger, Texas is my team. I like them on this side of the bracket. I had Texas, Kansas in the final. Yeah, I mean, no qualms for me here. Other than the fact that they'd be playing in the Final Four. But I like both those teams. We said it last week. I think we both had Texas playing Kansas, and our thing there was that whoever wins that game wins the whole thing. That was my opinion on it anyway.
Yep.
I think Ian had a similar opinion there. All right, so this was kind of surprising here with Kansas being out of it. Arkansas and UConn. I'll be honest with you, this game doesn't intrigue me a ton. I'm happy for both teams that they're in there, but I don't know. I can't get too into this one. I think this is two average teams. I don't think they're great teams. I think Kansas is lucky to be, Arkansas is lucky to be in this game. UConn, they beat St. Mary's, so that was a plus for them. Otherwise, Iona, not a very good team. I personally like UConn in this one. I think Arkansas is going to come out with some fight and some grit, but I think UConn's going to take this one.
Yeah. Here's another SEC team minute, and everybody says the SEC sucks. There's the 5th team right there in Arkansas.
Yeah.
Arkansas, 4-point dog in this matchup, but really when you get at it, they both can score. I mean, they both average in the mid 70s. But I think what you're really going to see is the defensive side of the ball. You got UConn that only 59 compared to 67 points. That's a big shift and change there. And you got to watch. Their backcourt in UConn. They distribute the ball. They average 17 assists a game, and that's a ton.
Yeah.
So when you look at that, Sagano, whatever the heck his name is. Guy averages 17 points, but he shoots 60% from the field. So we all know what that means, right? His back's and he's dunking. but he also he also averages 78% from the free throw line. You got guys that can shoot in the free throw line, and you are in the Sweet 16, and you got a team that can do that. I watched Kentucky one year blow it because they couldn't hit a free throw. So if you got guys that can make free throws, that's the team to bet on. I like UConn here. I think I would lay the 4 on this in a heartbeat against Arkansas. I've seen Arkansas play. I just don't think they can compete with what I've seen so far out of UConn.
Yeah, I would agree. And then I didn't say it earlier with the rankings. I mean, UConn has the 3rd adjusted offense in the league. So they're good there. Defensively, these teams are very, very similar. One's 14, one's 15. But Arkansas's offense is 51st. And again, that's where I think the big disparity is between UConn and Arkansas. We're talking about a top 3 offense in all of college basketball. And then you're playing up against the 51st offense. Not that means a ton, but I think it's going to show you, again, consistently all year, UConn's been able to be very dominant offensively. And I think that is what's going to come. UConn is better than Duke. They are. I'm going to say it. They are.
Yeah.
I said I didn't like Duke last week, so I'm just going to continue riding my anti-Duke train. But
go ahead. I'm not a Duke fan either.
When you find convenient for yourselves. And then, all right, game of the week. This one is going to be so entertaining. I cannot wait. Tomorrow night's already booked. Girlfriend DJ knows not to bother me from 9:45 p.m. Eastern on. She knows. Don't bother me. I'm busy.
Yeah, I'm watching on the big screen myself. I mean, here it is. Number 1 offensive team against the number 2 defensive team. Yep. We're talking about 2 guys that battle it out back and forth. I mean, if you're a fan of college basketball, this could be a Final Four matchup, when you look at it. Now, I mean, you're talking about pretty evenly matched squads when it gets to, how they play. Now, they play 2 different types of games, you know what I mean? So, I mean, UCLA is definitely, they don't score as much, but I mean, gosh, sometimes Gonzaga played against my nephew's team in Loyola Marymount. He was on the coaching staff of Loyola Marymount as a grad assistant, and I watched him. That terrible. Yeah. I mean, Gonzaga lost to Loyola at home, or Loyola Marymount beat them at home. First time in 86 games they lost because they don't play defense. They're averaging giving up 75 points a game. If you get 30 wins and you're giving up 75 points a game, boy, you better be feeling it. You better hope you're shooting well. Defensively, I think UCLA is going to lock them up. I mean, don't get me wrong. I want the state of Washington to have a team in this. Would love to see the Zags here. Fuse, I've met him a few times when I used to go to the Great Alaska Shootout a bunch of times. I actually rode a plane one time with him and his wife and the team. It was a fun time. But everything else, they're pretty much matched up, pretty evenly. Zags shoot a little bit better, but I just think UCLA plays way better defense and has a decent offense to have somebody that has such a great offense and play no defense. I don't like UCLA, but I'm going to take UCLA in this standpoint. I do think that 1.5, that's pretty legit. If you're looking at making a bet, but I think Jim, you're right. Few could be the difference maker here as well, but I just think that UCLA is going to be somebody they're on a mission right now, and they lost in the Pac-12 championship, so they've got that taste in their mouth of, man, we got smacked by Arizona. Let's go out and play. So they might be a little more focused, but this is definitely the one where you grab your popcorn, you get your box of Milk Duds and your nice brown water and sit down and watch a good college basketball game for sure.
100%. I'm all over UCLA here. I have UCLA in my Final Four now, with obviously Kansas being out. I love Kansas being out. I love UCLA here for the sole reason that the Gonzaga, like you said, does not play defense. That team looks like they could care less about playing defense, and it pisses me off to no end. I was telling you about my betting week before we started this, and I had Gonzaga to close out a parlay up against TCU last week. Okay. I've never been so nervous in a game that I should never be nervous in. Gonzaga should have won that game handily, if they would have played some defense, and they didn't in the second half. There was virtually no defense at all. And the fact that Grand Canyon hung 70 on them, that's a problem.
Yeah.
TCU hung 81 on them, that's a problem. UCLA, they're going to hang 90 on them with you when you're looking at it like this. I mean, we're talking about a TCU team that they're good offensively. They're not great. They're 53rd offensively. I don't even know if Grand Canyon has stats. I'll be honest with you. I don't know if they have stats. But let me
they
see.
are, but it's deep, brother.
They're
57th.
They're 57th offensively, right? So we're talking about the 57th offense in college basketball. We're talking about the 52nd offense in college basketball. And now you're going to go to the 21st offense in college basketball. Don't be shocked if UCLA hangs 90 on them.
Well, you look at them. I mean, the Zags, the 75th ranked defensive team. 75th. Yeah. Are you kidding me? How is a powerhouse school like that not having kids that can play D? You're going to have to D it up against UCLA. And UCLA played in Vegas. That's a home game. You know, let's be honest. That's a 6-hour trip out to, whatever it is, the 10, I think it is out there. I mean, they're going to be out there full force. The Zags, they're going to have to score 10 points more than they normally would just to be into it. So I got UCLA here easy.
100%. And then I have UCLA beating the winner of Arkansas UConn. We both think it's going to be UConn. Again, it's another one where I just think UCLA is too fundamentally sound. I think they're going to beat. It doesn't matter who comes out of that game. UCLA is going to win. They're going to beat Gonzaga. They're just going to ride off. And I'm looking forward to a UCLA Texas matchup.
Man, how great will that be? Even if it's Houston, if Houston ends up winning that game, that is going to be that could be the winner. Remember, we said this at the beginning too. We said this is going to be a good side of the bracket. It's going to be strong. It's going to have solid teams in it. The team out of the West might actually win it, when you look at it. But when you look at this is what you want to see out of the tournament. You always want to see those streaky teams, like I told you earlier, like George Mason. When George Mason made it to the Final Four, it was out here in Seattle. It was like, who are they? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But when you look at this is what you want. You want 1, 2, 3. Well, 1, 2, 3, 4 potentially. Well, it can't now because 4 is not playing 3 here in the Sweet 16. But in reality, when you look at that, it's going to be fun, man. This is a good part. The Midwest is going to and the West is going to have a great side of the bracket. I think this is where I'm going to enjoy watching most of the games from.
100%. That's why, even like we're talking about, right? The only game I don't really care too much about, I'm going to watch it still because I'm a degenerate, but the Arkansas UConn game, I think that's going to be like the least interesting for me.
Yeah.
Otherwise, all those games there, I'm all over watching all of them. I can't wait to watch them, and I can't wait to watch the next games from there and the following game after that. I really want to see a UCLA, and then either Houston or Texas. Going to be a fantastic game. The other side of the bracket doesn't interest me a ton, especially with Alabama. I think Alabama's kind of cakewalking through this one at this point. I think Creighton could give them a little bit of a run for their money, but ultimately they're not going to give them a run for their money. And I mean, Michigan, we both like Kansas State. Both like Tennessee. I don't think either one of those teams is really going to do much to Alabama either. So I think Bama cakewalks through that one, but I can't wait for the right half of this bracket here. It's going to be fantastic.
When we get into the Elite Eight games, I mean, you're talking about realistically, if you look at that, you got, one playing 2, and then in the West, you're looking at 2 playing 4 potentially.
Yeah,
man, that is great because I mean, that goes to show you that somebody got something right if we're getting down to that standpoint. Now, the up top part of that, when we're looking at the East and the South, I mean, gosh, the highest rated team in the East is a 3 seed. The highest, then you got Alabama that could potentially walk their way in. Now, Creighton, I think, is going to give them a little bit of a game. I do. I think Creighton, there's guys that I was listening to that had them go ahead and beat Alabama. I don't know if that's going to happen.
A stretch.
Yeah, me too. We got to see how they play against Princeton. They can come and just totally bomb against Princeton. But, when you look at that bottom part of that bracket, man, there's, realistically, there's 4 good games and then 2 more really good games are going to happen this weekend as well.
Agree 100%. So that pretty much brings us to our picks, right? I mean, we're both pretty much looking at an Alabama kind of going to the final, and then UCLA playing up against a Houston or a Texas. And I think whoever wins that game is who's going to. I think they're going to beat Bama in the championship. So I think the winner's coming from the right-hand side. But good question from Jim here. Are you guys surprised by the seedings of the ones for the tournament? It's a little off topic. Jim, nothing is ever off topic during our conversations. I'll tell you that for sure.
Especially you, Jim. You're always here.
Yeah, 100%. But are the one seed surprising? No, with the exception of Purdue. We both said it last week that we thought Purdue was the softest one seed. I think I said that I thought they were the softest one seed in recent memory. Yeah. I hate that the fact that they're a one seed. They were terrible. I had them out in the second round, and I thought one of us may have said it wouldn't be surprised if they lost, but if I said that, it was probably more of a joke than anything. But I had them out in the second round. I thought Purdue is such a soft one seed. However, Kansas, Houston, Alabama, very deserving one seeds. I could make an argument for why Kansas wouldn't be a one seed, but I think they're still a one seed.
Yeah. I agree with you. I mean, picking the one seeds, I mean, you're looking who – of the whole season in a nutshell. I mean, and you go back and you take a look at the two seeds. If UCLA might have beat Arizona in the Pac-12 championship, they had a strong case to be a number one seed.
That's the thing.
Go back. Yeah, exactly. But it's a lot of what ifs, right? When you look at that, you say, okay, well, what if this happened or what if that? Well, you have to take the whole thing. And then I love how they take the conference tournaments into play. That's the reason why we all know that most of the seeds are done prior to coming in there. Yeah. But obviously on Sunday that's what really kicks off, college basketball is the league championship games. Mm-hmm. Especially to have Arizona upset UCLA. Well, there you go. That's the reason why. And you look at Marquette. Could you make a case for Marquette to be a 3 or even a 4 seed? Sure, you could. Yeah. I think if you really sat down and said, okay, is Gonzaga better than them? Well, let's look who they're playing against, right? And so, I think overall this year there was a couple teams that got left out that I was kind of shocked that got left out. But that, we talked about that last week when we were talking about it. But right now, I think it's pretty solid the way they've got it right now. I really like the way the brackets are coming down. They are going to make things a lot more interesting on one half of the bracket compared to the other side. But Agreed. You never know if Creighton pulls something crazy off. You never know. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
And all of a sudden they're playing Bama and giving Bama a run for their money, and then who knows what happens, right? Shock the world.
Yeah, agreed 100%. The only other seed that I really don't get, it's not that I don't get it, I just disagree with it heavily, is Arizona being a 2 seed. I know they won the Pac-12. That's why they're a 2 seed. That's a gift of a 2 seed, though. They shouldn't be a 2 seed. They should realistically. I think Arizona is a 4 at best, personally speaking. I can't make an argument as to why they're a 3 if they didn't win the conference tournament. Since they won that, that's why they're a 2 seed. So it's the same thing with Princeton, right? Princeton wins their thing, Purdue wins there, and they're a 1 seed.
Yeah.
Soft.
I do not understand why the Pac-12 was not good basketball this year.
Yeah,
it truly wasn't. Go and look at it. Can USC? USC is a 10 seed. Come on. You got UCLA, Arizona. Seriously, you and I both know before we got up to last week when we said Arizona is a 2 seed. Man, what the heck is that? But it just goes to show you that you can't. You're making a crapshoot. You got 8 or 9 people in a room sitting around talking about where to place these people. You really don't know. And that's what's so exciting about this tournament. And that's the reason why college football is trying to get something like this into place where it's more of than an 18 bracket to be able to look at, because this is what it makes it all about. Everybody's going to be glued to their TV tomorrow night, 6:45 out here, 9:45 out on your neck of the woods to watch that game, because that's a game that you want to watch in the Sweet 16, because you never know what could happen. You get somebody that bank shots in at the buzzer, and then all of a sudden it's like all hell breaks loose. So, but definitely, I think, when there was some big time upsets, There always is. I mean, we weren't expecting that many number one upsets. I think when we look at it and say, gosh, how do you lose Purdue in a big time program, lose to that? Well, it happens. And that's the cool part about basketball is you just never know who's going to step up. But kind of interested to see what happens with Houston. I think, they've got everybody back healthy now. Who are they really is going to be a great question. I mean, Sasser's, you're talking about one of the better players in the league. But if that groin popped out again, they're in a big trouble. You know what I mean?
They are. They're in big trouble. But I think like we were talking about, right? Definitely some good games coming up. I'm excited to watch them myself. I think there's going to be a lot of great basketball over the next couple days, and then over the next week, obviously. As we get deeper in the tournament, I think the basketball is just going to get better and better. And looking forward to it. I'm hoping that what we've said here kind of plays out to fruition, because I think it's going to set up some very, very good games. And I'm looking forward to it. Obviously, my pick for the tournament's out already. So it's not ideal, but I'm kicking myself too, because I had a different pick in there and I changed it like an idiot.
I always say that too, and I did. Damn it! I had Texas in there.
I have multiple brackets,
I know.
And in a couple of them, I have Texas in one of them. I have Bama in another one. I have Houston in one, and then of course the one I put in the Casino Gaming TV one, I freaking put Kansas in that one. I liked them. I thought they were going to play better, but Any final thoughts, Ian?
No, I'm excited about the games. This is what the fun time is. Now we've got the Cinderella stories pretty much out of the way. Now let's go and really watch some good college basketball. I'm not an NBA fan. I don't watch the NBA anymore, but I love college basketball, and I'm excited to see what's going to happen here. I think when we meet up next week and we're talking about who's playing for the championship game, it sure is going to be a fun show to talk about and basically see what kind of talent rises to the top.
100%. I agree. I want to thank you as always for coming on.
Always, my friend.
And for chatting with me here. And I want to thank everybody who's watching. I appreciate you guys with the questions, the comments, and just, having your ear, listening to us, break down some info. Hopefully some of this information helps you guys. Obviously you can't change your brackets now. You can, there's ESPN Second Chance. If you want to go over there, you can take a look at it and fill out some second chance brackets if you want. But if you guys are sports bettors, kind of broke down our picks and stuff. So, if those help you guys, I hope it does. And appreciate you guys watching. And I guess we'll be back for championship breakdown. Nice in-depth breakdown of championships. Is that what we were going to do?
We got that, and then right around the corner, it's draft season.
Oh, baby.
I don't know about you guys, baby. We're ready for that one.
I can't wait for our live draft show. That's going to be so exciting.
That's
all right, guys. Hope everyone
has
a great night. Great day tomorrow. Hopefully you guys are gearing up to watch some of these great games between tomorrow and Friday. And hope everyone has a fantastic evening. Make sure everyone's staying safe and being smart. And we'll see you guys in the next one.
Thanks, everybody.